Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, we are gonna be doing something I haven't really talked about. Then again, I've barely been primarily focusing on anime and gaming stuff, but that's besides the point. Today is a very, very, very sad day in the not just animation industry, but just gaming in general. It's a very sad day. Today, the final season of Red vs. Blue aired, and with that, the finale of 21 years of entertainment. Beloved characters are now gone. Beloved characters we'll never see again after today. And it's very sad, man. Like I love Red versus Blue. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. I adore it. Adore it to death. I love it above most anime. Like that's how much I love it. It's just one of my all-time favorite shows. I own the DVDs for most of the seasons. I'm missing a few, unfortunately, and they never sold them anymore, so I can't get them again, which sucks. I hope one day I can be able to own the physical copies, but I own this box set for the first 10 seasons. It's one of my most prized possessions that I own. I'm glad to say I own it, but I saw the final season. And I'm here to give a review not just on the season itself, but my thoughts on the series as a whole. And w- I'll I'm gonna break this up into two separate parts. I'm gonna do the first part non-spoiler and then the second part spoiler because it is the final goodbye, but at the same time, it is still a piece of media and it's not perfect at all. I hate to say that. I hate it so much because it's the final season, but it's not perfect. I have my complaints with it. I have things I dislike about it, but that's besides the point, so let's just get right into it. My review on Red vs. Blue Restoration, the final season to a beloved series. Let's begin. So, first off, I just want to say one thing I've always disliked about Red vs. Blue past season 10 was the animation. I have always felt that the animation past season 10 has never been as good. It doesn't look good, it doesn't feel good. There's been some instances where it's been good and I've enjoyed it, but to say that it doesn't detract from like the story or anything is would be a lie because it definitely takes you out of it because the animation for modern Red versus Blue. Now I can't speak for Zero. I've only seen clips of Zero, but I will mention it. I will say the quality at the very least is good, a lot better compared to other Red versus Blue seasons, but it's just felt poor. The quality, it looks so out of place. It looks like they're trying to make it seem older than what it is. And they used Halo Infinite for this season, and I I don't think it really fits. It looks awkward compared to the other seasons. Now that's kind of how I felt with season 9 when they were using Reach for that season outside the animation, but because this season, the final season itself uses primarily animation over the machinima, it's very jarring because of how I I feel bad calling it bad, but I feel like I should because I don't think it's good. I really don't think it's good. So I that's a major problem I had with the season. Another thing, some other problems I had with it. Now, I've had this problem since it came out, but because this was primarily the we didn't really get to experience it as much compared to this before as we did this season because he talks so much. But Caboose's voice actor, if you don't know, the original voice actor for Caboose had a fallout with Rooster Teeth and he left some time ago. Please ignore my dog. Can't do anything about that. But he left, and the new Caboose voice actor. Now, I'm not gonna say he did a bad job because I'm not a voice actor. I don't know what goes into it, but the thing I struggle with the new voice actor is he fails to capture the spirit of Caboose. Like what makes Caboose lovable is not only the way he acts, but it's the way he talks about certain things, and it's that portrayal through his voice that I feel the voice actor just can't compete. Now, it's not just a matter of they sound different, so I don't like him. I just I couldn't help but compare the OG, the original voice actor for Caboose to the new one this season. Like I was like, man, like it would such an impactful moment would sound so much better with the original Caboose. Like it would hit much harder if we had the original Caboose over this guy. And like I really don't want to say he did a bad job because again, I don't know anything about voice acting, but that really was a struggle. I can't get used to a new Caboose voice actor, and I won't hear him as Caboose anymore, obviously, because it's the final season. But even then, like because I hold this so near and dear to my heart, I love it as much as I do that I wanted the best for the final season, and I did enjoy it. I really no, I didn't just enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. All right. It was really good. Before I continue on with my criticisms, let me just get this out the way. I loved it. All right. It was good. I have my problems with it, but the circumstances that Rooster Teeth had with the shutdown, Warner Brothers, and all of that, I fucking hate Warner Brothers so much. Fuck them for what they did to Rooster Teeth. This season felt I loved it, but this season felt rushed. Now, the final season was like an hour and a half. That's about average, I'd say, for a Red versus Blue season. Combined around an hour and a half to 3 hours. Like it's a movie pretty much. Most seasons, especially because they combine the episodes into one, like on the Blu-ray. That's how they do it. That's how it was when it released on Netflix. They do it on YouTube when they combine the whole season. That's about the average. An hour and a half to 3 hours is about how long a normal season is. This was an hour and a half. And I felt like it definitely could have used a longer runtime. I definitely noticed that the plot was moving a bit too fast. The story was moving a bit too fast. It wasn't all over the place because it was focused on a small group of the characters that it's not like you're trying to keep up with five different storylines at the same time. It's not that bad, but I felt like a lot of the moments throughout the season would have been a lot better if they were given more time to breathe. Now, I'll get into that a little bit more later when I talk into the spoilers, but that's another complaint I had. It just felt a bit too fast. Another thing, would this be a spoiler? I will refrain from mentioning what I'm thinking right now because I'm afraid it might be a spoiler. But overall, like on from the technical aspect, I think it was kind of lackluster because again, the animation, the fight scenes are that's one thing I've never liked about Red versus Blue. Again, the later seasons, especially the fight scenes, the hand-to-hand combat scenes, they've always just felt bad. Like they felt slow, they felt off, it just never really felt good compared to the first few seasons with the animation style. And that really bothers me a lot because like you're trying to get this hype moment, but the choreography and the animation movement is just so jarring and awkward that it takes you out of it, and it makes you lose the emotion. So from a technical aspect, I think the final season was very lackluster. It was very poor. Again, given the circumstances, Charusta Teeth, I can't blame them at all. And that's really what bothers me more again because of the circumstances. This season, literally, they could have kept a lot of literally everything the same, but if they just had more time to develop their ideas, more time to let scenes breathe, it would have been a masterpiece, honestly. Like, it would have been perfect and a 10 out of 10 perfect farewell. Now, as a farewell, I will say it does do a good job. I do have my complaints with that still, but I can't discuss that without the spoilers. So if you want to listen to that, stick to the end. But I think overall, as a farewell, it did good. Like, you could tell that Rooster Teeth put their heart and soul into this. And watching it throughout, like I was tearing up here and there. You could, it's hard not to notice the passion and the love that the creators put into this final season. It's so there, it's so noticeable, and honestly, that makes it a lot easier to appreciate because it's so noticeable. You know how much they care. So that's one thing I really love. It did a good job, a good enough job as a farewell, and I will miss it. Despite all my criticism, I did really enjoy it overall. I laughed at a lot of the jokes. I love these characters, man. They're just so great. They're so amazing. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that. It was good. And if you're a Red versus Blue fan, I highly recommend you check it out. It's not the greatest of the series. It's not a greatest of all time thing, but it, it's satisfying, you could say. It it truly feels like a farewell. And even after I finished the season, I was just staring at my TV screen like I just felt so empty, like I couldn't believe it was over. But thank you, thank you, Rooster Teeth, for creating this series. Thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you for the passion, love, and care you put into this final season, despite all the odds against you. Thank you for everything you all did. And I'm sorry things had to end this way, but as someone once said, don't say goodbye. We hate goodbyes. So just let me say once again, thank you. Now, that is gonna be it for the non-spoiler side. There's really not much to talk about. The voice acting was good, I would say, from someone that doesn't know it. The story was cool and interesting. I guess one thing I forgot to mention in that part was it just felt not out of place, but it felt like a lot of context was missing, and that's where I guess I'll get into right now with the spoiler review. So if you don't want to know any more spoilers, click off the video now. Thank you all for watching. I'm glad y'all stuck around. Let me know your thoughts on Red versus Blue, what it means to you, and I'll see you on the next one. But here comes the spoilers. You have been warned. So the final season. It picks up a few months after season 13 ends. If you don't remember where that ends, season 13, Tucker equips the meta suit, the armor, the Miono armor, in order to fight off against Karan Industries, about to break into the room that they are currently in on the ship. And George has to sacrifice himself in order to power the suit's abilities. He can't do it as Epsilon, so he has to defragment him, create the fragments as individuals so they can power the suit individually and thus offload it from Epsilon alone. And it's basically killing himself in order to power the suit, and they all survive. Picks up from there. Now, if you saw the trailer, we see the Sigma AI is alive and well, personality-wise, and after this, he ends up taking control of Tucker. If you don't remember, he does that with Main, voices inside your head. It's not like normal Halo AI where they're just kind of there helping you. They're like their own full-on personalities. I mean, it's every AI is, but like it's a voice inside your head that does more. I mean, we had Doc pretty much had a split personality. And the whole story of the final season is that Sigma wants to rebuild the Alpha with the fragments that he had from Epsilon, just based off the memories and stuff. And he's hunting down Epsilon because when Epsilon fragmented himself into all the other fragments of the AI from the Alpha, he deleted himself, but he kept a memory. He made voice logs and audio recordings for his friends, and it's through those simulations that he left these recordings, that the Sigma AI thinks he's still alive out there. And they need Epsilon to fully recreate the Alpha. So that's what he's going through right now. He's attacking places, trying to find out where the Reds and Blues are in order to capture Epsilon and kill everyone who's in his way. And that's a really cool story. That's a really cool plot line. I like what they did with that, but my complaint with that is we don't really deal with Tucker and his aftermath with that. It's kind of mentioned by other characters. Like we get a scene between Washington and Doc about what it's like having an AI in your head. And Doc is like, well, it was more of I was taking a back seat while he was in control. I don't really know much. He was like his own thing controlling me, like another person's nightmare you were living through. Washington, on the other hand, being filled with all those memories, it did so much more psychological damage to him, and he had a different experience. As he mentions, Carolina almost died from having two AIs instead of the normal one that every other freelancer had. And then they mentioned the meta, he had all those AI in him, all those AI, all those voices in your head. And it must have been hard. And that's what Tuck was going through right now. And we see moments of resistance from Tucker, but at the end of it all, we don't see any recollection with that. We don't see him trying to cope with what he's been through. We don't see him really dealing with the problem that the other freelancers had. And that goes back to what I mentioned earlier about it being short and rushed, that I feel like a lot of the plot lines needed more time to breathe. I feel like it would have been more impactful had we had more time with Tucker struggling against the AI. Now, like it does with Epsilon, they can slow the time down, obviously, because the processing speed makes it that way. And so they make Tucker experience that pain, while they, in reality, lasted a couple seconds. They made Tucker spend 10 years of torture mentally. And that's really the best scene we get of that, because he's always trying to defy them, but they're putting him under control, and with that, he becomes quiet. Um, but we just didn't really see much of Tucker struggling with that, and I think that's a big flaw. One thing I also really didn't like is it's the final season. We have all these characters in the series, and it felt like a lot of them were just forgotten. They were acknowledged, but they were forgotten. And not in the sense that they just didn't bother putting them, because again, they were acknowledged, but um, how do I say this? They wrote them out of the story. Like there's some events that happen that the characters mention in the season that we know nothing about. This everything there was stuff that happened off screen. And like Lopez is in the season. I love Lopez, and he's in the season at the beginning, and then he's just gone. He's gone, never to be seen again. Like what? What? I don't understand why. Like he's already in the season. Why would y'all just write him out of it? They don't even give a reason. He's just not there anymore. And it's like, why? Uh, and then this is a big spoiler. Big spoiler. So during the Battle of Chorus, I don't I'm 99% sure Wash never got hurt. Now, when they mention Wash is in the hospital a lot of the season until the end when he leaves, and they talk about an injury he got on Chorus, and it's like, what injury? My only guess would be when they got onto the ship to help the Reds and Blues. You would think it's the um injury with the throat, but that's not what it was because that's after. That's probably doesn't even happen if I remember right. The season retcons that. Retcons everything after season 13. So he's he has an unknown injury and he's been hospitalized for it. And it's Doc is there with him in the hospital, and Doc's like his best buddy at this point because he's in the hospital with him. He's talking to him, trying to make him feel better, get him through this tough time, through his injury. But at the end, it's revealed Doc is dead. Doc is dead, and it's like, why? He dies off screen. We don't see it. And it's just like I don't understand this decision at all to kill Doc off screen. Now, I, I'm so conflicted on that too because it angers me that he dies off screen because I love Doc. I love all the characters. They mean so much to me. And it's like I it's that's what I mean. Like they feel forgotten. They just they wrote Doc off. Now the what I'll get into it later, but how they handle it, I think, is very good with the whole theme of the final season. The whole theme of the final season is just so well done. It's about letting go, saying, as much as you hate to say it, saying goodbye, but goodbyes aren't the end either. Because no matter what, memory is the key. Memory always remains, no matter how much you want to forget it. Memory is the key. And that's shown throughout the whole season. And it that really, because Epsilon, is the one we were with the majority over Alpha. And Epsilon is the memory of Alpha and all the fragments and everything. And that's the missing piece. Memory is the key. And it just all culminates to the end where everyone learns to let go. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how much you want to forget, no matter how painful those memories are, they'll always be there. One thing, there's so spoiler, well, this is all spoilers, but Tex is back at the end, and it's done so by, if you remember, the unit, the recovery unit from previous seasons, they used that. And with the memories of the recordings from Church that left behind and the Reds and Blues, there's a scene of them reminiscing on all their adventures together. And at the end of it, Tex comes back, and I love this scene. She's fighting off Tucker, the meta, and Sigma is like, you're destined to lose. No matter what, the person you are on is destined to lose. And that is why you will lose today. And then Tex is like, I'm not based off those memories anymore. I'm based on their memories, the Reds and the Blues. And based off them, I always kick their ass. And then she beats the shit out of the meta. And that was such a good scene. That was so powerful. And the whole scene of them reminiscing, it was Caboose, Griffin, Simmons, just the three of them reminiscing together. And then the meta comes and Griff and Simmons hold off Tucker, the meta. And while that's going down, Caboose is telling a story of George, the director, and Allison in order to give the final memories to both texts back. That was a really beautiful scene. And again, that goes back to the voice actor though. Like, I felt it was not as powerful as it could have been. It's powerful nonetheless, but like the voice actor just, if it was the original Caboose, it would have hit so much harder. Another problem, another thing with it is that Sarge, Sarge dies this season. He's gone. And he dies saving Caboose, which is great. It's beautiful. He obviously has a love-hate relationship with the Blues. Like he's helped them through so much, but he's still always like trying to fight against him into the war and everything. And despite all of that, he's like, you know what? Let me just actually finally put away my hate for these Blues. I've helped them through so much. He is one of us. He goes to save him, and he ends up dying. Why, when you think they were about to escape, the meta gets him. And I very conflicted on that because I love Sarge, but the way it's thematically it's beautiful. The way it's handled and executed, I found to be poor because it just feels so fast. It's not like a big moment. It's bare. It doesn't really feel like it's shocking either because of like the way it was set up. But they just because of they had so little time to do anything, they couldn't really cover. They just kind of move past it a bit too soon. Doesn't really give them time to linger or come to terms. Now, after that, we go to Blood Gulch, to Bailey Sarge, where it all began. Which, and that scene is really beautiful. We even have Griff saluting Sarge. Like, that was good, but I felt like it could have been a lot more powerful, a lot more impactful, given more time to breathe. And like Carolina is not in the story until the very end. She barely does anything. Um, they bring Tex back, and her and Carolina actually fight the meta. They team up, and if you remember, they hate each other's guts, and they don't even say like a word to each other, which really bothers me. And it just goes back to not enough time, and then just ends like that, and they don't even talk or anything about that. Um, Sheila is back, just should be left alone again. And that kind of goes back to why I'm so upset about how Doc passed away off screen because it's the final season. It's supposed to be the culmination of everything, and we barely get to see any of these characters for one last time. We barely get to see like Donut's not even in there at all. Like he has like one speaking line and it's a memory of from Simmons in a heat of the battle moment. And it's like, where is Donut? They don't say anything about what happens to him, man. Lopez just is left randomly somewhere. I don't know where, God knows where. Sisto makes an appearance at the start and never to be seen again. It's like they were added as just cameos and that was it. And I can understand a little bit, but it's like again, it's the final goodbye, guys. I feel like a lot of these characters deserved better. Doc getting rid and killed off screen is just stupid. That's such a big thing. And what makes it more powerful, and again, despite that, it still really is impactful with Wash because it's Wash is blaming himself. Like the injury he got on Corvus, Doc was helping him, and then he died. He gets shot, killed, assuming, while helping Washington. And Wash blames himself for Doc's death. And that scene, despite it, again, it's very powerful because you can just hear the emotion in Wash and the regret, and he really is impacted. He's imagining Doc next to him. You see scenes with him talking to Doc, and when you realize when they reveal that Doc is dead, it's like, what? Aside from the angle I felt, seeing finding out that he's dead off screen, but the way they handled that scene was just beautiful at the same time. We see Wash, not flashback, but like images of the old freelancers, Agent North, Connecticut, Florida. They all come back for a little bit and talk to Wash like, it's okay, Wash. And it goes back to memory is the key. They tell Wash that like even though they're gone, the memories are forever. So don't remember the bad times, don't remember the sadness, but remember the good times, the happy moments in life, because those are forever. While the moment may be gone, it's not forever disappeared because it's always with you in the form of a memory. And that, again, that's what this whole season was, just memory and knowing that no matter what, it was they're with you forever. They those memories are passed down to future generations, and that was just a very beautiful scene. That was probably one of the best scenes, probably the best scene of the season, and probably one of the best in the whole series. Um, but they defeat Tucker. They get the AI fragments out of him by the extraction unit, the recovery unit. They used it on Tex in the other season, main against Tex, and he just shoves it through her helmet. And this is another beautiful scene. So the Alpha is actually reformed, but since he's trapped in the memory unit, Tex's memory gets dragged back into it, and instead of if you remember, it's literally uh, it's if you remember when George says goodbye to Tex and deletes her, and Tex does the same for the Alpha when she tries to save him, but it's too late. He's too far gone and broken, and they don't remember each other. And they Tex gets deleted, and Tex leaves George and the scenes respectively. This scene, they talk together, and George is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't remember who you are." And it's like, "It's okay. I don't know what's going on." And Tex is like, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'll tell you all about it later. I'll tell you all about it. We have all the time to tell you about it." And then he's like, "Well, nice to meet you. My name is Leonard." And then they walk off together holding hands. She grabs his hand, like, "I'm Allison, Allison George." And that that was very beautiful. I love Red versus Blue, man. And I can't believe I'm actually crying. Um, I just love it. Red versus Blue means so much to me. Despite everything, this final season did a beautiful job saying goodbye. I know a lot of the characters, like Doc, Lopez, a lot of them, they weren't there to get proper goodbyes, farewells, but Griff, Simmons, Caboose, Washington, it all was very emotional with them. Um, Tucker, as I mentioned earlier, doesn't get much after that. Literally, we don't see him at all, really. We barely hear him talk. He gets like five speaking lines, something like that. It really sucks, man. It's just all Warner Brothers' fault, but Rooster Teeth did the best that they could do, and I, it's a proper goodbye. All the criticisms aside, it's a proper goodbye. I love Red versus Blue. Thank you again, Rooster Teeth, for everything. This review is kind of all over the place. But I'm very emotional about it. Maybe I'll do an overall series review and dissection in the future. But I just wanted to give my thoughts of the season. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.